The woman in the designer sunglasses and rumpled blazer stood at the corner of Fifth and Maple, staring at her phone with what looked like genuine confusion, though Sofia Vance had never been lost a day in her life. She had memorized the route to the homeless shelter 3 blocks away before she left her penthouse that morning. But standing here now, watching the early autumn sun cast long shadows across the cracked sidewalk, she felt the familiar weight of her wealth pressing down on her shoulders. The fundraising gala next week would raise millions for causes she cared about deeply. But Sofia was tired of writing checks from behind mahogany desks. She wanted to understand the people she was supposed to be helping, wanted to see their faces, hear their stories without the filter of her assistant or the charitable organizations that managed her donations. So she had dressed down, left her driver at home, and decided to walk through this part of town she had never visited despite living in the city for 5 years. And now, standing at this intersection, she realized she needed an excuse to talk to someone real, someone who lived here, someone who might show her something authentic. The man walking toward her looked like he carried the weight of the world on his broad shoulders, but he held the hand of a small girl who seemed to be made entirely of sunshine. The little girl was maybe 6 or 7, with dark curls bouncing as she skipped beside him, chattering about something that made him smile despite the exhaustion evident in his eyes. And then Emma said I could be the princess, but I said no. I want to be the dragon because dragons are way cooler, and they can fly and breathe fire and nobody tells them what to do, the girl was saying. Dragons are definitely cooler, the man agreed, his voice warm and deep. Sofia made a split-second decision and stepped toward them, holding up her phone like it contained incomprehensible hieroglyphics instead of a perfectly clear map. "Excuse me," she said, letting uncertainty creep into her voice. "I am so sorry to bother you, but I am completely turned around. I am looking for the River Street Cafe, and I thought it was supposed to be around here somewhere." The man stopped, and Sofia got her first good look at him. He was tall, probably 6'2", with dark hair that needed a cut and warm brown eyes that held both kindness and wariness. He wore work boots, faded jeans, and a flannel shirt with the sleeves rolled up to reveal forearms that spoke of manual labor. His face was handsome in a rugged, lived-in way, with the kind of stubble that suggested he had been too busy that morning to shave. There was a tiny paint stain on his collar. "River Street Cafe is actually about 8 blocks that way," he said, pointing east. "It is a bit of a walk from here. Are you looking for lunch or just meeting someone?" "Just wanted to try it," Sofia said. "I heard they had good coffee." The little girl tugged on the man's hand. "Daddy, we have to go get the groceries before they close." "I know, sweetheart. Just give me 1 second." He looked back at Sofia, and she noticed the shadow of concern in his eyes, the automatic assessment of whether she was safe, whether she needed more help than just directions. "Look, if you head straight down Maple here for about 5 blocks, then take a right on River Street. You cannot miss it. Big blue awning out front. But just so you know, they close at 3 on Sundays, so you have got maybe 40 minutes. "Daddy, I am hungry," the little girl said, not whining but stating a simple fact. "Thank you so much," Sofia said quickly. "I really appreciate it." She watched them start to walk away, the man's hand gently holding his daughter's, and felt a pang of something she could not quite name. There was something in the way he looked at the child, the way he listened to her rambling stories, that spoke of devotion so complete it made Sofia's carefully constructed life feel hollow. "Wait," she heard herself call out. They turned back, and the man's expression shifted to polite curiosity mixed with just a hint of guardedness. Sofia had not planned what to say next. She was flying blind, operating on instinct in a way she never allowed herself in business. "I am actually new to the area," she lied smoothly. "And I do not really know anyone around here. If you ever want to grab coffee or something, maybe you could show me some other good spots." She pulled out her phone. "Could I get your number?" The man blinked, clearly surprised. The little girl looked up at him with wide eyes. "Are you asking Daddy on a date?" the girl asked with the brutal honesty of children everywhere. Sofia felt her cheeks warm, genuine embarrassment replacing her calculated performance. "I just thought it would be nice to know someone in the neighborhood." The man looked at her for a long moment, and Sofia had the unsettling feeling he could see right through her expensive disguise. But then something in his expression softened. "I am not really in the dating scene," he said carefully. "But sure, I can give you some restaurant recommendations. I am Wyatt Harrison, by the way, and this is my daughter, Lily." "Sofia," she said, using her real first name without thinking. "Sofia Vance." Wyatt pulled out a phone with a cracked screen and they exchanged numbers. His hands, she noticed, were calloused and strong with traces of paint under the nails. "Nice to meet you, Sofia. Hope you find that cafe." He smiled, and it transformed his tired face into something almost boyish. "Come on, Lilybug. Let us go get those groceries." Sofia watched them walk away again, and this time she did not call them back. But she looked down at her phone, at Wyatt Harrison's number glowing on the screen, and wondered what exactly she had just started. She did not go to the River Street Cafe. Instead, she walked back to her penthouse, her mind full of a tired man with kind eyes and a little girl who thought dragons were cooler than princesses. 3 days later, Sofia found herself staring at Wyatt's number, her thumb hovering over the call button. She had spent those 3 days doing what she did best, researching. Not stalking, she told herself, just due diligence. Wyatt Harrison was 31 years old, owned a small painting and renovation business that seemed to be barely treading water, and was raising Lily on his own. The mother was not in the picture, though Sofia's private investigator had not been able to determine why without digging deeper than Sofia was comfortable authorizing. Wyatt lived in a small 2-bedroom apartment in the neighborhood where they had met, drove a 10-year-old pickup truck, and by all accounts was devoted entirely to his daughter and his struggling business. He had no criminal record, no scandals, no red flags except the kind of grinding poverty that came from never having enough hours in the day or dollars in the bank. Sofia set down her phone and walked to the window of her office. The city spread out below her like a kingdom, glittering and cold. She had built her fortune through a combination of inheritance and brilliance, turning her father's modest real estate company into an empire that spanned 12 states. She was 30 years old, unmarried, and according to last month's profile in Forbes, one of the most successful female entrepreneurs under 40. She was also lonely in a way that money could not fix. Her assistant knocked and entered without waiting for permission, the privilege of 7 years of loyal service. "The Riverside development contracts are ready for your signature," Marcus said, laying a folder on her desk. "And you have the charity board meeting at 3. "Marcus, have you ever pretended to be someone you are not?" He raised an eyebrow. "Every day when I pretend to understand your obsession with terrible reality television." She smiled despite herself. "I am serious." "I know you are. What is this about?" Sofia turned back to the window. "I met someone, just a regular person, and I did not tell him who I really am." "How much did you not tell him?" "All of it. He thinks I am just some woman who got lost in his neighborhood." Marcus was quiet for a moment. "Sofia, you are many things, but you are not cruel. If you are planning to play games with someone's life because you are bored—" "I am not bored," she interrupted, surprised by the heat in her voice. "I am not playing games. I just wanted one conversation where someone did not see my bank account before they saw me. And now I have his number and I do not know what to do with it." Marcus pulled out his phone and sent her a text. She looked down at the notification. "If you do not know what you want, leave him alone. If you do, be honest before anyone gets hurt, especially the kid." Sofia read the message twice. "When did you get so wise?" "I have been wise. You have just been too busy being brilliant to notice." He headed for the door, then paused. "For what it is worth, I have never seen you this uncertain about anything. Maybe that means it matters." After he left, Sofia sat at her desk for a long time. Then she picked up her phone and typed out a message before she could overthink it. "Hi, Wyatt. This is Sofia. We met on Sunday when I was lost. I know this is random, but I would love to take you up on those restaurant recommendations. Are you free for coffee this week?" She sent it and immediately wanted to unsend it, but it was too late. The message showed as delivered, then read, 3 minutes passed. 5:10, her phone buzzed. "Hi, Sofia. Sure, I could do coffee. How about Tuesday at 10 a.m.? There is a place called Maureen's near where we met. Best coffee in the city and not too expensive. Fair warning, though, I will have Lily with me. She is out of school for fall break." Sofia's first instinct was disappointment. She had wanted to talk to Wyatt alone, to get to know him without the complication of his daughter. But then she remembered the way he had listened to Lily's story about dragons, the gentle patience in his voice, and realized that knowing Wyatt meant knowing Lily. They were not separate people but a unit. That sounds perfect. I would love to meet Lily properly. See you Tuesday at 10. She set down her phone and allowed herself a small smile. Then she buzzed Marcus. "Clear my Tuesday morning schedule. Something important came up." Maureen's coffee shop was nothing like the places Sofia usually frequented. The chairs did not match. The floor was scuffed linoleum instead of hardwood, and the air smelled like burned coffee and cinnamon rolls. It was also completely full of life, packed with people laughing and talking, a bulletin board overflowing with flyers for community events, and a woman behind the counter who seemed to know everyone by name. Sofia arrived 10 minutes early, wearing jeans and a sweater she had bought specifically for this meeting, trying to look like she belonged. She ordered a coffee from Maureen herself, a woman in her 60s with steel gray hair and sharp eyes that assessed Sofia with unnerving accuracy. "You must be new around here," Maureen said as she poured the coffee. "I know everyone, and I do not know you." "Just exploring the neighborhood," Sofia said, handing over cash instead of her usual credit card. "Exploring, huh? Well, welcome. Holler if you need a refill." Sofia found a table by the window and tried to look casual, which was difficult when her heart was pounding like she was about to give a presentation to hostile shareholders. Wyatt arrived exactly at 10, Lily's hand in his, and Sofia felt that strange pang again. He looked better than she remembered. More rested, maybe, or perhaps she had just forgotten how attractive he was in the 3 days since they met. He wore clean jeans, a dark blue Henley that showed off his broad shoulders, and work boots that had been recently cleaned but still bore the scars of hard use. Lily was wearing a purple dress with sparkly sneakers, and her hair was pulled back in a ponytail that was already starting to come loose. "Sofia, hi," Wyatt said, and his smile seemed genuine. "I was a little surprised to hear from you. I figured you were just being polite when you asked for my number." "I am never just polite," Sofia said, then worried that sounded too harsh. "I mean, I do not ask for numbers I do not plan to use." "Daddy, can I get a cookie?" Lily asked, pressing her face against the display case. "May I get a cookie?" Wyatt corrected automatically. "And yes, after you eat some real food. Sofia, do you want anything? Maureen makes these breakfast sandwiches that will change your life." They ordered, Wyatt insisting on paying despite Sofia's protests, and settled at the table. Lily immediately pulled out a coloring book and crayons from the backpack Wyatt had been carrying. "So," Wyatt said, wrapping his hands around his coffee mug, "you are new to the neighborhood. Where did you move from?" Sofia had prepared for this question, had a whole backstory ready, but sitting across from him with his daughter coloring happily beside them, the lies felt wrong. "Actually, I am not exactly new. I have lived in the city for a while. I just never spent any time in this part of town before." Something shifted in Wyatt's expression, a slight wariness. "Why the sudden interest? Honestly, I wanted to see a different side of the city, the part where real people live." Real people. Sofia heard the edge in his voice and realized her mistake. "That came out wrong. I just mean, I spend all my time in the same few blocks, seeing the same people, and I wanted to get out of my bubble." "And what bubble is that?" She met his eyes, saw the intelligence there, the pride, and made a decision. The one where money solves every problem and everyone wants something from you. Wyatt was quiet for a moment, studying her face. You are rich. It was not a question, and Lily looked up from her coloring, curious. Yes, Sofia said simply. Very. And you came to our neighborhood to what? See how the other half lives? Get some perspective for your memoir? No, Sofia said, and she was surprised by how much his assumption stung. I came because I donate a lot of money to charity, and I realized I do not actually know any of the people I am supposed to be helping. I throw fundraising galas in ballrooms and write checks and feel good about myself, but I have never actually walked through a homeless shelter. I have never talked to a single mother working 3 jobs. I have never seen what poverty actually looks like beyond the statistics my assistant puts in front of me. Wyatt leaned back in his chair, his expression unreadable. So we are what? A sociology experiment? You are not anything, Sofia said. I asked for your number because you were kind to me when you did not have to be. Because your daughter said dragons were cooler than princesses, and you agreed with her, even though you clearly had 100 other things to worry about. Because you looked at me like I was just a person, not a checkbook or a networking opportunity. Daddy, why are you mad? Lily asked. Her crayon paused over a dragon she had been coloring green. Wyatt's face softened immediately. I am not mad, sweetheart, just having a grown-up conversation. Your dragon looks awesome. He looked back at Sofia, and some of the wariness had faded. Look, I appreciate the honesty, but I do not need a rich person's pity. That is not what this is. Then what is it? Sofia took a breath. I do not know yet, but I would like to find out. If you are willing to give me a chance. Their breakfast sandwiches arrived, delivered by Maureen with a knowing look that suggested she had been eavesdropping. Wyatt helped Lily with her food, cutting the sandwich into smaller pieces, and Sofia watched the easy intimacy of the gesture. Okay, Wyatt said finally, but I have to be straight with you. My life is complicated. I work 60 hours a week trying to keep my business afloat. I have a 7-year-old daughter who is the center of my universe. I do not have time for games or drama or whatever it is rich people do for fun. I do not want games or drama, Sofia said. I just want to get to know you. Why? It was such a direct question, so completely without artifice, that Sofia found herself answering with equal honesty. Because when I saw you with Lily, you looked at her like she was the most important thing in the world. And I do not think anyone has ever looked at me like that. Wyatt's expression shifted, surprise and something else, something softer. Lily, oblivious to the weight of the moment, was happily eating her sandwich and coloring her dragon. Okay, he said again. Let us get to know each other, but fair warning, my life is not glamorous. It is parent-teacher conferences and grocery shopping and fixing drywall at 2 a.m. because a pipe burst. That sounds perfect, Sofia said, and meant it. They spent the next hour talking, real conversation that flowed easier than Sofia expected. Wyatt told her about his business, how he had started it 5 years ago with a partner who had later bailed, leaving him with all the debt and none of the capital. How he was slowly building a client base, but every job was a struggle. Every estimate a prayer that he had bid low enough to get the work, but high enough to actually make money. I love what I do, he said, genuine passion lighting up his tired eyes. There is something amazing about taking a space that is broken or ugly and making it beautiful. Giving someone a home they can be proud of. I just wish it paid better. Sofia wanted to offer help, to write a check that would solve all his problems, but she knew instinctively that would be the end of whatever this was before it had a chance to begin. Instead, she told him about her own work, carefully editing out the scale of her success. She talked about loving the puzzle of development, of seeing potential in abandoned buildings, of creating spaces where people could build lives. You are a developer, Wyatt asked, and there was new interest in his voice. Real estate, yes, it is not as hands-on as what you do. Mostly spreadsheets and contracts. Still, it is cool that you build things too, in your own way. Lily finished her coloring page and held it up proudly. Look, I made the dragon green because green is the best color, and she is a girl dragon, and her name is Sparkle. That is beautiful, sweetheart, Wyatt said. Sofia, what do you think? Sofia looked at the drawing, at the fierce green dragon with purple wings and what appeared to be a crown made of flowers, and felt something crack in her chest. I think Sparkle is the coolest dragon I have ever seen. You are very talented, Lily. The little girl beamed. Do you want it? You can have it if you want. Really, I would love that, thank you. Sofia took the drawing carefully, like it was made of something precious. They left the cafe together, and Wyatt walked Sofia to her car, which she had parked several blocks away to maintain her pretense of belonging to the neighborhood. Lily skipped ahead, pointing out interesting things on the sidewalk: a bottle cap, a bright leaf, a dog behind a fence. She likes you, Wyatt said quietly. She does not warm up to people easily. She is wonderful. You are doing an amazing job with her. I am doing my best. It is not always enough. It seems like more than enough to me. They reached Sofia's car, a Tesla she had chosen specifically because it was less ostentatious than her usual vehicles, though she realized now that it still screamed money in this neighborhood. Nice car, Wyatt said neutrally. It was a gift, Sofia lied, then hated herself for it. Wyatt, I want to be honest with you, but I am also terrified that if you know everything about me, you will see me differently. He studied her face, and she had the sense he was seeing more than she wanted to reveal. Everybody has secrets, I get it. But if we are going to be friends, or whatever this is, I need to know you are not going to disappear when you get bored of playing in my neighborhood. I am not playing, Sofia said, and I am not going to disappear, I promise. Daddy, I need to pee, Lily announced with the impeccable timing of children everywhere. Wyatt sighed. And that is my cue. It was really nice seeing you again, Sofia. You too. Maybe we could do this again, all three of us. Yeah, I would like that. Text me. Sofia watched them walk away, Wyatt holding Lily's hand as she urgently pulled him toward the nearest public restroom. She got into her car and sat for a moment, Lily's dragon drawing on the passenger seat beside her. She had started this as an experiment, a way to understand the people her charity was supposed to help. But sitting there, she realized this was not about understanding poverty or gaining perspective anymore. This was about Wyatt, about the way his smile transformed his face, about the easy strength in his hands and the devotion in his eyes when he looked at his daughter. This was about wanting something she had never allowed herself to want before. Over the next 3 weeks, Sofia and Wyatt fell into an easy rhythm. They met for coffee twice more, always with Lily present, always at places Wyatt suggested that did not cost much money. Sofia learned that Wyatt had taken custody of Lily when she was 2, after Lily's mother had decided motherhood was not for her and left. He never spoke about her with bitterness, only sadness, and it was clear that Lily did not remember her at all. She is better off not remembering, Wyatt said one afternoon as they walked through a park, Lily running ahead to the playground. Her mom was not a bad person, just not built to be a parent. Better to leave than to stay and resent us both. You never think about finding someone. Giving Lily a mother? I think about it sometimes, he admitted. But dating as a single dad is complicated. A lot of women do not want to deal with someone else's kid. And the ones who do, I always wonder if they are interested in me or just the idea of playing house. What if someone was interested in both? You and Lily as a package deal, he looked at her, and there was something in his eyes that made Sofia's heart race. I guess that would be different. They watched Lily climb the play structure, fearless and laughing. She is incredible, Sofia said. You should be really proud. I am. She is the best thing I have ever done. He was quiet for a moment. Can I ask you something? Anything? Why are you really here? Not the charitable giving thing. The real reason you keep coming back to my neighborhood, spending time with me and Lily. Sofia had known this question was coming, had prepared a dozen different answers, but standing there in the October sunlight, watching his daughter play, only the truth felt right. Because I like you. Both of you. Because for the first time in years, I feel like I can just be myself. Does that make sense? Yeah, Wyatt said softly. It does. Their hands were almost touching on the bench, and Sofia had the overwhelming urge to close that small distance to feel his calloused palm against hers. But before she could move, Lily came running back, breathless and excited. Daddy, there is a girl over there who says she goes to my school. Can I go play with her? Sure, Bug, stay where I can see you. Lily ran off, and Wyatt shook his head affectionately. She makes friends everywhere. I do not know where she gets it. From you, Sofia said. You are one of the kindest people I have ever met, Sofia. He turned to face her fully, his expression serious. I like you too, a lot, but I need to know what we are doing here. Because if this is just some temporary thing, if you are going to get tired of slumming it and go back to your real life, I need to know now before Lily gets too attached. Before I do. I am not slumming it, Sofia said, frustrated. Why do you keep saying that? Because you still have not told me the truth about who you are. You say you work in real estate, but you drive a Tesla, and your clothes probably cost more than my monthly mortgage. You say you want to know me, but you are keeping huge parts of yourself hidden. He was right, and Sofia knew it. She had been trying to have it both ways, to build something real while maintaining her protective walls. Okay, she said. You are right. Let me buy you dinner. A real dinner, just the two of us, and I will tell you everything, no more hiding. What about Lily? My assistant can babysit. She is great with kids. Wyatt raised an eyebrow. Your assistant babysits for you? Marcus does everything for me, and he will be thrilled. He has been telling me I need to be honest with you for weeks. You talked to your assistant about me? Sofia felt herself blush. I talked to Marcus about everything. He is my best friend. You are full of surprises, Sofia Vance. You have no idea, so dinner, tomorrow night. Wyatt was quiet for a long moment, and Sofia could see him weighing risks, calculating odds. Finally, he nodded. Okay, but somewhere nice. If we are doing this for real, I want to take you on a proper date. You do not have to. Yes, I do. I might not be rich, but I can still treat you to dinner. I have some pride. Sofia wanted to argue, but recognized the steel in his voice. Okay, pick the place and text me. I will. He smiled, and it was the warm, boyish smile that made her heart skip. This is crazy, you know that? Completely crazy. Good. I could use a little crazy. The next evening, Sofia stood in front of her closet, more nervous than she had been before any business meeting or charity gala. Marcus sat on her bed, offering commentary. The black dress is too formal, the blue one is perfect. You think? Sofia, you could wear a garbage bag and still look amazing, but yes, the blue one. She pulled out the dress, simple but elegant, expensive without being ostentatious. Marcus, what am I doing? Finally living your life instead of just managing it. He is going to run when I tell him the truth about how much money I have. If he runs because of money, he is not the man you think he is. Marcus had agreed to watch Lily at Wyatt's apartment, and when Sofia arrived to pick Wyatt up, she was glad she had spent the extra time on her appearance. He answered the door in dark slacks and a button-down shirt that looked new, his hair still damp from the shower, and he was so handsome it made her breath catch. Wow, he said, looking at her. You look incredible. So do you. Inside the apartment, Lily was showing Marcus her entire collection of drawings, and Marcus was admiring each one with what appeared to be genuine interest. The apartment was small but immaculately clean, decorated with Lily's artwork and photographs of Lily and Wyatt at various ages. There was worn furniture that had been carefully maintained, a kitchen visible through an open doorway with appliances that were old but functional. Lily, you be good for Marcus, Wyatt said, kneeling down to hug his daughter. I will, Daddy. Have fun on your date. Thank you, sweetheart. In the car, an Uber Sofia had called because she suspected Wyatt's truck might not start on the first try. They were both quiet. You are nervous, Wyatt said finally. Terrified. Me too. The restaurant Wyatt had chosen was nicer than Sofia expected. The kind of place with white tablecloths and a wine list. but not so expensive that it felt like a special occasion. They were seated by a window overlooking the river, and Sofia watched Wyatt's face as he looked at the menu, saw him calculating prices, trying to figure out what he could afford. "Wyatt," she said gently, "order whatever you want, please." "I am paying," he said firmly. "Then let me contribute. This is about us getting to know each other, not about who pays. It is about more than that for me. It is about being able to take you out properly." Sofia reached across the table and took his hand, the first time they had really touched beyond accidental brushes. His skin was warm and rough, and his fingers curled around hers automatically. "You do not have anything to prove to me. Maybe not to you, but I do to myself." They ordered, Wyatt choosing carefully, Sofia getting whatever she wanted because she knew he would not let her pay anyway. When the waiter left, Wyatt leaned back and looked at her directly. "Okay, Sofia Vance, tell me who you really are." So she did. She told him about inheriting her father's company at 23, about building it into something her father never could have imagined. About the Forbes profile, and the penthouse, and the private investigator she had hired to research him, which made him laugh in a way that eased some of her anxiety. "You had me investigated. I had to know you were not secretly a serial killer. And my credit score told you that. Your credit score told me you were honest and hardworking and doing your best in difficult circumstances." "My credit score is terrible," Wyatt said. "I had to declare bankruptcy 3 years ago when my business partner bailed." "I know. I also know you have been slowly paying back your suppliers even though you legally did not have to. That tells me everything I need to know about your character." The food arrived, giving them both a moment to process. Wyatt ate slowly, and Sofia realized this was probably the nicest meal he had had in years. "So you are a billionaire," he said finally. "Technically, yes, though most of that is tied up in property and assets. And you wanted to understand how poor people live." "I wanted to understand how real people live, people who have not been isolated by money. I am not a charity case, Sofia. I know that. You were never that." She set down her fork. "I started this wrong. I pretended to be lost because I wanted an excuse to talk to you. But I kept seeing you because you are kind and genuine and you make me laugh. Because Lily is amazing and watching you with her makes me believe in things I had stopped believing in." "Like what?" "Like love. Like family. Like the idea that someone could want me for me, not for what I can give them." Wyatt was quiet, processing. "This is a lot. I know, and if you want to walk away right now, I understand. I do not want to walk away." He reached across the table and took her hand again. "But I need you to understand something. I cannot give you the life you are used to. I cannot take you to fancy restaurants every week or buy you expensive gifts. I live paycheck to paycheck, and sometimes the checks do not cover everything. Lily comes first, always, in every decision I make." "I would not respect you if she did not," Sofia said. "And I do not need fancy restaurants or expensive gifts. I need honesty and kindness and someone who looks at me the way you looked at Lily when she gave me that dragon drawing." "How did I look at her? Like she hung the moon?" Wyatt smiled. "She did, though." They finished dinner, talking more easily now that the secrets were out in the open. Wyatt told her about his dreams for his business, about wanting to hire more people, about someday buying a house with a yard where Lily could play. Sofia told him about feeling trapped by her own success, about not being able to walk down the street without being recognized, about the loneliness of having everything except someone to share it with. "I have spent 5 years being defined by my bank account," she said. "People either want something from me or they are intimidated by me. You are the first person in so long who just treated me like a regular person." "You are not a regular person," Wyatt said. "But not because of the money, because you are smart and funny and you genuinely care about people. The money is just noise." When the check came, Wyatt paid with a credit card, and Sofia saw him wince slightly at the total, but he did not say anything. She made a mental note to find a way to make this up to him without injuring his pride. They walked out to the river, the city lights reflecting on the water, and for a while they just stood there in comfortable silence. I have not been on a date since before Lily was born, Wyatt said. I have kind of forgotten how this works. I have been on plenty of dates, Sofia said. They were all terrible. This is not terrible. High praise. Wyatt. She turned to face him. I really like you. I know this is complicated and strange and we come from completely different worlds, but I want to see where this goes, if you do. He looked at her for a long moment, his brown eyes serious in the lamplight. Then he reached up and gently tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, his rough fingers soft against her skin. I want that too. But slowly, okay? I need to make sure this is right for Lily. She has already lost one mother. I cannot let her get attached to someone who might leave. I am not going anywhere, Sofia said. I promise. Do not make promises you might not be able to keep. I never do. He smiled then and leaned in slowly, giving her time to pull away. But Sofia did not pull away. She met him halfway, and when his lips touched hers, gentle and questioning, she felt something click into place that she had not known was missing. The kiss was brief, tender, and when they pulled apart, Wyatt was smiling. I really like you too, Sofia Vance. They walked back to the car holding hands, and Sofia could not remember the last time she had felt this kind of simple joy. When they got back to Wyatt's apartment, they found Marcus and Lily building an elaborate castle out of blocks, both of them completely absorbed in the project. How did it go? Marcus asked, though his knowing smile suggested he already knew the answer. Really well, Sofia said. Wyatt walked her down to the car, Lily having already fallen asleep on the couch, worn out from playing. Thank you for tonight, he said. For dinner, for honesty, for all of it. Thank you for giving me a chance. Can I see you again, maybe this weekend? We could take Lily to the Children's Museum. I would love that. Another kiss, longer this time, his hand cradling her face like she was something precious. Then he stepped back, smiling in the darkness. Good night, Sofia. Good night, Wyatt. In the car, Marcus was grinning. You kissed him. Shut up. You are blushing. Sofia Vance does not blush. I said shut up. But she was smiling. Marcus, I really like him. I know. It is terrifying and wonderful, right? Completely. For what it is worth, he is good for you, and Lily is an angel. She told me all about how you are her daddy's special friend and how she hopes you will come to her school play next month. Sofia felt a warmth spread through her chest. She did. She is already planning your wedding. Fair warning. Over the next 2 months, Sofia and Wyatt built something real. They took it slowly, always with Lily present, always mindful of not moving too fast. They went to the Children's Museum, to parks, to Saturday morning pancakes at Maureen's, where the older woman watched them with approving eyes. Sofia learned what it meant to date someone with a child, the careful negotiations of scheduling around school and work, the way every decision was filtered through what was best for Lily. She learned that Wyatt was protective without being controlling, that he encouraged Lily's independence while being ready to catch her when she fell. She also learned what it meant to be part of a family. Lily started calling her Aunt Sofia, which felt both too formal and exactly right. The little girl would grab her hand when they walked, would save drawings specifically for her, would tell her long, rambling stories about school and friends, and the elaborate fantasy world she had created involving dragons and space princesses. Wyatt was more careful, more guarded with his heart. He kissed her goodnight after every date, but did not invite her up when Lily was sleeping. He held her hand and pulled her close, but maintained boundaries that Sofia recognized as self-protection. I need to be sure, he said one night when she asked why he was holding back. Not just for me, but for Lily. If this does not work out, if you realize you do not want this life, I need to know before she thinks of you as permanent. I am already sure, Sofia said. You have known me for 2 months. That is not enough time. How much time do you need? I do not know. But more than this. Sofia tried to be patient, tried to understand that Wyatt's caution came from love and fear in equal measure. But it was hard when all she wanted was to be with him, to wake up next to him, to build a life together. Her work suffered for the first time in her career. She was distracted in meetings, delegating more to Marcus, leaving the office early to make it to Lily's school play or Wyatt's softball game with his amateur league. Her board of directors noticed, but said nothing, perhaps sensing that pushing her would only backfire. Marcus, watching her transform from ruthless businesswoman to someone who planned her day around a 7-year-old schedule, was delighted. "You are finally human," he said. "It is terrifying and wonderful. You have been spending too much time with me. You sound like a greeting card." "I sound happy for you. There is a difference." The first real test came when Wyatt's truck broke down the week before Thanksgiving. The repair was going to cost $2,000 he did not have, and Sofia watched him struggle with the decision of whether to fix it or to find a cheaper alternative that would inevitably break down again. She wanted to just pay for it, to write a check and solve the problem, but she knew that would be crossing a line Wyatt had drawn clearly. So instead, she called her building manager and asked if he needed a painter for the lobby renovation he had been planning. "I was going to hire a company," he said. "Hire Wyatt's company instead. I will vouch for him." "Sofia, I cannot just hand out contracts as favors." "It is not a favor. He is genuinely good at what he does. Just look at his portfolio and give him a fair bid." Wyatt got the contract, enough work to fix his truck and have money left over, and he was so happy when he told Sofia that she felt like she had won the lottery. "This is exactly what I needed," he said, pulling her into a hug that lifted her off her feet. "This could lead to more commercial work, bigger contracts. Thank you for recommending me." "You got it on your own merit," Sofia said, which was technically true even if she had opened the door. "I know, but you gave me the chance. That matters." They celebrated with pizza and a movie at Wyatt's apartment, Lily falling asleep between them on the couch. Sofia looked down at the little girl, her dark curls messy and her mouth slightly open, and felt a surge of love so strong it scared her. "Wyatt," she whispered. "I need to tell you something." He looked up from where he had been absently stroking Lily's hair. "What is it?" "I love you, both of you. I know it is too soon and I know you want to go slow, but I needed you to know." She expected him to pull back, to remind her about boundaries and time and protecting Lily. Instead, he reached across his sleeping daughter and took Sofia's hand. "I love you too," he said quietly. "I have been trying not to because it is terrifying, but I do. I love the way you listen to Lily's stories, like they are the most important things you have ever heard. I love that you learned to braid hair just so you could help her in the mornings. I love that you are brilliant and successful and powerful, and you choose to spend your Saturday mornings eating pancakes with us at a diner. So why are we still taking it slow? Because love is not enough on its own. We need to build something stable, something real. I need to know that when the novelty wears off and this is just regular life, you will still want to be here." "I will." "You cannot know that yet, neither can I." He was right, and Sofia knew it, but it did not make the waiting easier. Thanksgiving came, and Wyatt invited Sofia to spend it with him and Lily. It was just the three of them, cooking in Wyatt's small kitchen, Lily helping make pumpkin pie that was more mess than dessert. Sofia had never had a Thanksgiving like this, intimate and chaotic and full of laughter. "This is nice," Wyatt said as they sat down to eat, Lily's hand in his, reaching for Sofia's on the other side. "Feels right." "It does," Sofia agreed. They went around the table sharing what they were grateful for. Lily was thankful for her daddy, for Sofia, for her friend Emma, for dragons, and for pie. Wyatt was thankful for Lily, for his business finally stabilizing, and for Sofia coming into their lives. Sofia was thankful for finding them, for second chances, for learning what really mattered. After dinner, while Lily watched a movie, Sofia and Wyatt cleaned up together, moving around each other with an ease that felt like they had been doing this for years, instead of months. "My mother used to host Thanksgiving for 40 people, Sofia said, washing dishes while Wyatt dried. "It was this massive production with caterers and a formal dining room and everyone dressed up. I always hated it." "Why?" Because it was not about being thankful, it was about showing off, making sure everyone knew how successful we were. That sounds lonely. It was. She handed him a plate. This is better. This is real. Sofia, I have been thinking. Wyatt set down the dish towel and turned to face her. I know I said we should take this slow, but I think I have been using that as an excuse because I was scared. Scared of what? Of how much I feel for you. Of what it means to let you all the way in. He took her hands, his thumbs rubbing circles on her palms. You have been patient and understanding and everything I could have asked for, and I think I am ready to stop being scared. Sofia's heart was pounding. What are you saying? I am saying I want this to be real. Not just dating, not just taking it slow. I want you in our lives fully. I want Lily to know you as more than Aunt Sofia. I want to wake up next to you and figure out how to blend our crazy different worlds together. I want that too. I have wanted that since the day I met you. He kissed her then, deep and searching, his hands cupping her face like she was precious beyond measure. When they broke apart, they were both breathing hard. Daddy, the movie is over, Lily called from the living room. Can Sofia read me a story? Wyatt laughed, pressing his forehead to Sofia's. Duty calls. I love duty, Sofia said, and meant it. She read Lily 3 stories that night, the little girl curled against her side, her weight warm and trusting. When Lily finally fell asleep, Sofia carried her to bed, tucking her in like she had done dozens of times before. You are good at that, Wyatt said from the doorway. I have been practicing. They stood together in the doorway, watching Lily sleep, and Sofia felt like she had finally found what she had been looking for her whole life. The next few weeks were a blur of happiness. Sofia started spending more nights at Wyatt's apartment, learning to navigate the morning routine of getting Lily ready for school. Wyatt started coming to some of Sofia's business events, uncomfortable in a suit, but trying for her sake. They negotiated the awkward merging of their lives, figuring out how to be together despite the enormous gulf between their bank accounts. The first fight came in mid-December, over something stupid and inevitable. Sofia wanted to buy Lily an elaborate playhouse for Christmas, the kind with multiple rooms and working lights. Wyatt said no. It is too much, he said, tension in his voice. Way too much, but she would love it. That is not the point. The point is I cannot afford to get her anything close to that, and I will not have my daughter learning that love is measured in expensive presents. That is not what I am teaching her. It is what she will learn if you start showering her with things I could never buy. They were in Sofia's penthouse, a space Wyatt rarely visited because it made him visibly uncomfortable, and the fight had escalated quickly. So I am supposed to pretend I do not have money, never give her anything nice. No, you are supposed to respect that I am her father and I get a say in how she is raised. I know that. I am not trying to undermine you. It feels like you are. Wyatt ran a hand through his hair, frustrated. Sofia, I love you, but you cannot just buy your way into our life. That is not how this works. I am not trying to buy anything. I am trying to give a little girl something that will make her happy. She does not need a $5,000 playhouse to be happy. She needs stability and love and parents who do not fight about money. Parents. The word hung in the air between them. Is that how you see me? Sofia asked quietly. As Lily's parent, Wyatt's anger deflated. I want to, but I need to know we are on the same page about how to raise her, and that includes not spoiling her just because you can. Sofia took a breath, forcing herself to see his perspective. He was not being controlling. He was protecting his daughter from learning the wrong lessons, from being caught between 2 different worlds. You are right, she said. I am sorry. I got excited and I did not think about what message it would send. I am sorry, too. I should not have snapped at you. He crossed the room and pulled her into his arms. We are going to have these fights. We come from such different places. I know, but we will figure it out. Yeah, we will. They decided together on a reasonable Christmas present for Lily, an art easel with paints and paper. Sofia secretly set up a college fund for her, something Wyatt would not find out about until Lily was ready to apply, but that felt different. That was an investment in her future, not a lesson in materialism. Christmas morning at Wyatt's apartment was chaos and joy in equal measure. Lily loved the easel, immediately setting up to paint a picture of the three of them. Wyatt gave Sofia a necklace, simple and beautiful, that he had clearly saved for. "I know it is not what you are used to," he said as he fastened it around her neck. "It is perfect. I am never taking it off." She gave him new tools for his business, professional-grade equipment that he needed but could not justify buying. She had been careful to frame it as a business investment, not charity. "Sofia, this is too much. It is for your company. If we are doing this, if we are building a life together, then your success is my success. Let me help." He held the tools like they were made of gold, and when he kissed her, she could taste his gratitude and his pride all mixed together. After presents, they made breakfast together while Lily painted at her new easel, completely absorbed. Sofia looked around the small apartment, at the mismatched furniture and the slightly leaning Christmas tree they had decorated with Lily's handmade ornaments, and could not remember ever being happier. "What are you thinking?" Wyatt asked, sliding an arm around her waist. "That I never want to be anywhere else. Good, because you are stuck with us now." By February, they had settled into a routine that felt like family. Sofia spent most nights at Wyatt's apartment, though she kept her penthouse for work, and for the occasional night when Wyatt needed space. They had dinner together every night, took turns helping Lily with homework, navigated the complicated dance of bedtimes and bath times. Sofia learned that Wyatt sang off-key in the shower, that he could not cook anything more complicated than pasta, that he fell asleep during every movie they tried to watch. Wyatt learned that Sofia woke up at 5 in the morning to work out, that she was terrified of spiders, that she cried during sappy commercials. Lily learned that Sofia would always help with art projects, that she gave the best hugs, that she could be counted on to be there. Marcus watched it all with approval, though he warned Sofia not to neglect her business entirely. "You built an empire. Do not let it crumble because you are in love." "I am not neglecting anything. I am just working smarter. You are delegating more. That is not the same as working smarter." "Maybe I do not need to control every detail anymore. Maybe I can trust other people." Character growth. "I am proud." In March, Lily got sick, a bad flu that had her running a fever and miserable for 3 days. Sofia called in sick to work for the first time in 5 years, and spent 72 hours helping Wyatt take care of her, wiping down her feverish skin, coaxing her to drink water, reading stories in the middle of the night when Lily could not sleep. On the 3rd night, exhausted and worried, Wyatt found Sofia asleep in the chair next to Lily's bed, her hand holding Lily's even in sleep. He woke her gently. "Come on, let us get you to bed. I want to stay with her. She is sleeping peacefully now. Fever broke an hour ago. She is going to be fine." Sofia let him pull her to her feet, swaying with exhaustion. In his bedroom, she collapsed on the bed, fully clothed. "Thank you," Wyatt said, lying down next to her, "for being here, for helping. Where else would I be? I know a lot of people who would have run from a sick kid. I am not a lot of people." "No," he said, pulling her close. "You are not." In the morning, Lily was better, demanding pancakes and wanting to paint. Sofia made the pancakes while Wyatt supervised painting, and when Lily presented Sofia with a picture of the three of them labeled "My Family," Sofia had to excuse herself to cry in the bathroom. Wyatt found her there, wiping her eyes. "You okay?" She called us her family. We are her family. He took her hands. "Sofia, I know we have not talked about the future much beyond just seeing where this goes, but I think we need to have that conversation now." "Okay. I love you. Lily loves you. You are already part of our lives in every way that matters. But I need to know what you see happening. Because if this is just a temporary thing for you, if you are going to eventually want to go back to your old life." "I do not want my old life," Sofia interrupted. "I want this. I want you and Lily and pancakes on Sunday morning and reading bedtime stories. I want to help with homework and go to school plays and watch her grow up." What about your work? Your company? I can do both. I have been doing both, and I am happy, Wyatt, happier than I have ever been. He studied her face, and she could see him weighing her words against his fears. Finally, he smiled. Okay, then let us do this for real. Move in with us, officially. This apartment is too small for all of us. I know, I have been thinking about that. With the commercial contracts, I have been making better money. Not what you make, but enough to afford a 3-bedroom house. There is one for rent a few blocks from here, near Lily's school. I was going to look at it next week. Maybe you could come with me? Sofia felt tears threatening again. You want us to find a house together? I want us to build a life together. A real one. What do you think? I think yes. Absolutely yes. They looked at the house the following weekend, a small bungalow with a yard and enough space for all of them. It was nothing like Sofia's penthouse, but it felt like home the moment they walked through the door. Lily ran through the rooms, picking out which one would be hers, already planning where her art supplies would go. Wyatt walked through more slowly, checking the bones of the place with a contractor's eye. It needs work, he said, but it is solid. I could fix it up nice. I love it, Sofia said. The landlord quoted a rent that was reasonable by Wyatt's standards but would still be a stretch. Sofia wanted to offer to pay half or more than half, but she knew that would start a fight. Instead, she suggested a compromise. What if I sell the penthouse and put that money toward buying a house? We could own it together. Wyatt froze. Sofia, you cannot sell your penthouse for me. I am not. I am selling it for us. I do not need that much space, and that money could buy us something really nice, something that is ours. I could not afford half of anything you could afford. So we do not split it 50-50. We figure out what is fair based on what we both make. Wyatt, I love you. I want to build a life with you. Let me do this. He was quiet for a long time, wrestling with his pride. Finally, he nodded. Okay, but we do it legally with a contract that protects you if things do not work out. Things are going to work out. I know. But I need to know that I am not taking advantage of you. They found a house in April, a 4-bedroom craftsman with good bones and a yard big enough for Lily to play in. It needed work, but Wyatt was excited about fixing it up, about making it theirs. Sofia sold her penthouse for more money than she had expected, and they bought the house together, with a contract that made Wyatt feel better, even though Sofia knew she would never enforce it. Moving in together was an adjustment. They argued about decorating, about storage, about whose furniture to keep. But they also laughed a lot, painting Lily's room together while she supervised, building furniture late at night, christening each room in ways that made Sofia blush. Lily adapted to the new house quickly, loving having her own room, her own space. She started inviting friends over, filling the house with the sound of children laughing. Sofia would come home from work to find the living room transformed into a dragon's lair or a space station, and instead of being frustrated, she would join in, playing whatever role Lily assigned her. You are really good at this, Wyatt said one evening, watching Sofia play make-believe with Lily and 2 of her friends. At what? Being a mom. Sofia felt her heart skip. They had not talked about that word, about what role she actually played in Lily's life. Is that okay? She asked quietly. It is more than okay. It is everything. In June, Lily's school had a mother-daughter event, and Sofia waited for Wyatt to explain that she should not go, that it would be too confusing for Lily. Instead, he showed her the flyer. Lily wants you to come, if you want to. What would I be? I mean, I am not her mother. No, but you are her Sofia, and that is its own thing, if you are comfortable with it. Sofia went to the event, and when they had to introduce themselves, Lily stood up proudly and said, "This is Sofia. She lives with me and my daddy, and she is my family." The other mothers smiled politely, some with curiosity, some with judgment, but Sofia did not care. Lily grabbed her hand and pulled her to the craft station, chattering about the project they were going to do, and Sofia felt like she belonged. That night, after Lily was asleep, Sofia and Wyatt sat on the porch swing they had installed in the backyard, drinking wine and watching fireflies. I have been thinking, Wyatt said. About making this even more official. Sofia's heart started racing. What do you mean? He turned to face her, serious and a little nervous. I mean that I love you, that I want to spend the rest of my life with you, that Lily thinks of you as her parent, and I think of you as my partner in everything. He pulled out a small box, and Sofia's breath caught. I know this is not a surprise. We have been building toward this since the day we met, but I wanted to do it properly. He opened the box, revealing a simple diamond ring. Sofia Vance, will you marry me? Sofia was crying, nodding before she could form words. Yes, yes, absolutely yes. The ring slid onto her finger like it had always belonged there, and when Wyatt kissed her, Sofia tasted the salt of her own tears and thought she might die from happiness. Should we tell Lily? She asked when they finally broke apart. In the morning. Let us just have tonight for ourselves. They made love that night with a tenderness that felt sacred, and afterward, lying tangled together in the bed they shared, Sofia thought about how far she had come. A year ago, she had been lonely and lost, pretending to need directions just for an excuse to talk to someone real. Now she was engaged to the love of her life, helping to raise a little girl who had stolen her heart, living in a house they owned together. What are you thinking? Wyatt murmured, half asleep. That I found what I was looking for. What was that? Home. They told Lily the next morning over breakfast. She shrieked with joy, jumping up and down, immediately starting to plan the wedding. Can I be a flower girl? Can I help pick your dress? Can we have a dragon cake? Yes to all of it, Sofia said, laughing. Does this mean you are going to be my mom for real? Sofia looked at Wyatt, uncertain. He nodded, giving her permission. I will never replace your birth mom, Sofia said carefully, but if you want to call me mom, I would be honored. Lily threw herself into Sofia's arms. I want to. You are my mom. You have been my mom. Sofia held her tight, this little girl who had changed everything, and let herself cry happy tears. The wedding was in September, almost exactly a year after Sofia had pretended to be lost. They kept it small, just close friends and family in the backyard of their house. Lily was the flower girl, wearing a purple dress she had picked out herself, and she took her job very seriously. Marcus was Sofia's best man, because traditional gender roles be damned, he had been her rock through everything. Maureen from the coffee shop came, beaming with pride like she had orchestrated the whole thing. Some of Wyatt's crew came, good men who had watched their boss fall in love and were happy for him. Sofia wore a simple white dress, elegant without being ostentatious. Wyatt wore a suit that actually fit him, looking so handsome it made her breath catch. When they exchanged vows, Sofia promised to love Wyatt and Lily, to build a life with them, to weather whatever storms came their way. Wyatt promised to trust her, to let her in completely, to love her exactly as she was. When the officiant pronounced them married, Lily cheered louder than anyone, and Sofia and Wyatt kissed while their daughter danced around them. The reception was a backyard barbecue, casual and fun, full of laughter and terrible dancing. Lily fell asleep on Sofia's lap during the toasts, worn out from excitement, and Wyatt carried her to bed while Sofia said goodbye to their guests. I am proud of you, Marcus said as he was leaving. You found what really matters. I did not I? Yeah, you really did. When everyone was gone and the yard was cleaned up, Sofia and Wyatt sat on their porch swing, married and exhausted and happy. We did it, Wyatt said. We did. Any regrets? Not even one. Good, because you are stuck with me now, Mrs. Harrison. That is the idea, Mr. Harrison. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the stars come out, and Sofia thought about the chain of small decisions that had led her here. Deciding to walk through an unfamiliar neighborhood, pretending to be lost, asking for a stranger's number. Each choice had seemed insignificant at the time, but together they had changed the trajectory of her entire life. What are you thinking about? Wyatt asked, his arm around her shoulders. About how I was never actually lost. I was just looking for you. That is incredibly cheesy. I know. But it is true, he kissed her temple. I love you, Sofia. I love you too. The next few years unfolded with the beautiful mundanity of real life. There were hard times, moments when their different backgrounds caused friction or misunderstandings. There were financial stresses when Wyatt's business had a slow season, health scares when Lily broke her arm falling off the monkey bars, arguments about parenting and money and whose turn it was to do laundry. But there was also so much joy. Watching Lily grow from a 7-year-old to a confident 10-year-old who still loved dragons but now also loved soccer and science. Building Wyatt's business together until it was genuinely successful, hiring a full crew, taking on projects across the city. Sofia scaling back her own company to spend more time with her family, discovering that she was happier being present than being powerful. When Lily was 9, she asked if she could legally change her last name to Vance Harrison, wanting to share both her parents' names. The three of them cried together when the judge approved it, and Lily wrote it out 100 times in her notebook, practicing her new signature. When Lily was 10, Sofia found out she was pregnant. She and Wyatt had talked about having more children, but they had not been trying, and the positive test was a shock. "Are you happy?" she asked Wyatt, showing him the test with shaking hands. "Are you kidding? I am thrilled." He picked her up and spun her around, laughing. "We are having a baby." Lily was excited about becoming a big sister, immediately starting to plan what she would teach the baby, how she would protect them, what games they would play. She went to every doctor's appointment, asked a million questions, and put her hand on Sofia's belly every night to feel the baby kick. "I love them already," she told Sofia one night, "even though I have not met them yet." "Me too, sweetheart, me too." William Harrison was born in March, a healthy baby boy with his father's dark hair and his mother's green eyes. Lily held him for the first time with such careful reverence that Sofia cried, overwhelmed by the beauty of her family. Wyatt was an amazing father the second time around, more confident and relaxed than he had been with Lily. He did midnight feedings without complaint, changed diapers like a pro, and sang the same off-key lullabies that had worked on Lily. Sofia, who had never imagined herself as a mother, discovered she was good at it. Not perfect, but good enough. She learned to function on minimal sleep, to breastfeed while working on her laptop, to love someone so small and helpless with a fierceness that surprised her. Their house was chaotic now, full of baby gear and Lily's school projects and Wyatt's work boots by the door. It was nothing like the pristine penthouse Sofia had lived in before, but it was perfect. It was home. On William's first birthday, they had a party in their backyard, the same place they had gotten married. Lily helped blow out the candles since William was too little to understand, and Sofia looked around at her family and friends and felt complete. "Can you believe it has been 3 years since we met?" Wyatt said that night after the kids were asleep and they were cleaning up. "Sometimes it feels like forever. Sometimes it feels like yesterday. Do you ever miss your old life?" Sofia looked at him, this man who had changed everything, who had given her more than she knew she was looking for. Not even for a second. Good answer. He pulled her close, kissing her with the easy affection of long familiarity. "I love you, Sofia. I love you too." When Lily was 12 and starting to be too cool for family game nights, when William was 2 and into everything, when Wyatt's business was thriving, and Sofia had successfully transitioned into being more of a consultant than a CEO. Sofia sometimes thought back to that day she had pretended to be lost. She thought about the woman she had been, successful but lonely, powerful but disconnected. She thought about how she had been looking for authenticity, for real connection, and had found something so much better than she imagined. She had found Wyatt, steady and kind and strong. She had found Lily, who had taught her what unconditional love looked like. She had found William, who made her believe in second chances and new beginnings. She had found a family. "Mom, William is eating crayons again," Lily yelled from the living room. "Wyatt, your son is eating crayons," Sofia called toward the garage where her husband was working. "He is only my son when he is eating crayons," Wyatt called back, but she heard him coming in. Sofia went to rescue William from his artistic snack, scooping him up and blowing raspberries on his belly until he giggled. Lily rolled her eyes but smiled, and Wyatt emerged from the garage with paint on his shirt, taking the squirming toddler from Sofia's arms. "Come here, you little monster. Let us go see if Dad can find you something better to eat." Sofia watched them go, her tall husband and their tiny son, and felt Lily lean against her side. "This is pretty good, right?" Lily said. "What is? Our family, it is pretty good." "Yeah, Bug, it is pretty great." That night, after the kids were asleep and the house was quiet, Sofia and Wyatt sat on their porch swing, a nightly ritual when the weather was nice. They did not talk, did not need to. Just sat together, his arm around her shoulders, her head on his chest, watching the stars and listening to the sounds of their neighborhood. "I am glad you got lost that day," Wyatt said finally. "I was not really lost. I know, but I am still glad." "Me too." Sofia closed her eyes and breathed in the scent of him, familiar and beloved, and thought about all the decisions that had led her here. The risk of talking to a stranger, the courage to be honest, the patience to build something real. The faith to believe in love when logic said they were too different. It had been worth it. Every moment, every choice, every leap of faith had been worth it for this. For family, for home, for love, for finally finding where she belonged.